Hi everybody. Well, recently we've been having a lot of discussions about cruise lines changing itineraries for one reason or another. And I think it's time we started addressing whether or not they can just carte blanche, end it, and change the itinerary, no notice, no change, no nothing, for absolutely any reason. Because I honestly don't think they can. So, no, I'm no lawyer whatsoever, but I am in contact with some lawyers who are friends of the channel, and I run legal questions by them every once in a while. It's not legal advice, it's not anything, so this is my opinion right now. And we understand when somebody can't get into a cruise port because of bad weather. Okay, it's dangerous to dock, bad weather, windy. We accept that normally, right? Most people don't really complain if it's a weather-related issue that we can't get into a cruise port. We might mumble and grumble, but we don't demand our money back or anything like that. What's happening right now in Russia and the Middle East, where there's a war going on and there's a danger of missile attacks or anything like that, we understand that the cruise ships are going to avoid those areas. We, again, can be very disappointed, but we understand the logic or the reasoning behind it. We can understand. And there, I think, the cruise contract, in their contract, they state that they can change the itinerary and you can't do anything about it. They don't have to offer compensation. They don't have to do any of this. It's very pro-cruise line writing in the contract to basically exempt them from any responsibility of changing itineraries or anything. And again, another good reason to change an itinerary, the ship breaks down. They can't go do what they're doing, right? Okay, okay, well, things happen. My car can break down, my house can break down, furnace can break down. Things happen, that's life. Disappointed, money back, demanding, maybe not. But if a cruise line changes an entire itinerary and is very vague about the reasoning behind it, where it almost seems like perhaps it's a money thing as opposed to any other reason. And let's just, I'm not saying this is what happened, but let's just take what happened right now with the Norwegian cruise ship that was advertised as a South American Antarctica cruise. And then as passengers are boarding the ship, they're told, guess what? You're not going to Antarctica. Oh, wait a minute. That's like a bucket list, right? That's like a bucket list area. And now you're not going to there on the cruise. And you say, oh, well, is it bad weather? No, the weather is fine, everything's good. Oh, is there a war going on? No, there's no war in Antarctica. You're not going to get a missile attack in Antarctica. Well, what's the reason? Well, we're under a go slow order. Oh, okay. What's the reason for the go slow order? Well, we can't tell you. What do you mean you can't tell us? You're canceling one of the main reasons I booked this cruise. You're telling me we can't go there because you have to drive slower, but you won't tell me why you have to drive slower. Well, one of the reasons they drive slower is because it's a long distance to get to Antarctica from Argentina. And if they don't have to go there, they don't have to spend all that cruising gas to get there, the oil. They can just cruise at a normal pace around the coast, stop at another port, not burn fuel. However, if they go to Antarctica, that burns fuel. They have to go at a certain speed to get there and to get back on time. And so is this, or was this, just a cost-saving measure? Because if it's a cost-saving measure, and it's not an actual reason, like weather, war, interruption, right? Danger to the passengers, anything like that, then I think that contract would actually become null and void. If it was challenged in court, I think they would lose in this if this was the case. If they had canceled it to save money for fuel, I think they would lose because they could also be charged with false advertising, right? Because they didn't advertise this as a cruise around South America. They advertised it as a South America Antarctica cruise. And they advertised this for a year plus before passengers got on board. So to change it at the last minute because they wanted to save money, if this is what happened, remember, I'm just speculating here. I'm not saying this is what happened. Norwegian isn't saying what happened. So we're kind of wondering, but it kind of seems like this because it doesn't appear to be affecting anything else to do with the ship. The ship seems to be running in normal occupation and normal procedures. They're not, things like that, according to people on board. But she's just not going to the destination now. And so if it was a cost-saving measure, would they lose? I think they would. That's false advertising. You advertise this for over a year. And you can put a little caption underneath saying that some of the ports might not be, we might not actually get to represent the actual ports we get to. They can put that in there all they want. But the name of the cruise was Antarctica Cruise. That is a direct false advertising statement. Had they changed this because there's a big storm there? Okay, we have to live with it. If they changed this because the engines broke down, okay, we have to live with it. But if they changed it to save money, which we are reporting that they have been doing over the past year. Anytime they had a long distance to go, they'll sometimes substitute a port that's closer so they don't have to travel fast and burn more fuel and go as far. And if cruise lines do this, not just Norwegian, any cruise line, and yet they were advertising that this is what's going on and you get to go here and you get to go there and this is, we're doing this cruise, then I think that they would actually lose in court. And when I ran this by a couple lawyer friends of mine, they said there would be if this was a class action suit, for instance, like if every passenger on board decided to sue the cruise line all at once in a class action suit, it would be a very interesting case because you can make the claim of false advertising if this was the valid reason that they canceled the cruise. Money. That it was false advertising, that it was deceptive practices. You could make all these cases that might skew a judge or jury to find in favor of the plaintiffs as opposed to the cruise line. And I'm wondering at some point if we're going to get somebody and some people out there that get angry enough at this to actually test the waters and sue the cruise lines. Especially if you were a lawyer. Say you're a lawyer and this happened to you. Would you not maybe get angry enough to launch the class action lawsuit yourself? Now, it costs a lot of money, folks. To launch a class action suit, it's just not a matter of appearing in court once in a while. There's investigators, there's paperwork, you got to hire staff to go through all the documents, etc. It's a very lengthy and extensive and expensive process. But man, if this is what happened out there, I would certainly love to see somebody test the cruise contract and see what happens. Because honestly, it boggles my mind that they can write a contract that completely dissolves them of any responsibility in actually bringing you the product that they advertised they're going to bring you.